Hello, I'm Chad Saley with Comp Health. I'm sitting down again with Dr. Andrew Wilner, a neurologist, a locum tenens physician, and author of the book, The Locums Life. And today we're going to talk a little bit more just about what it's like for things back home. If you're on a locums assignment, what's going on at your house or your apartment, and what should you do if you're on an assignment to make sure that everything's okay. So welcome, Dr. Wilner. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks, Chad.
Why don't you, as somebody who travels quite often and is often away from home, why don't you just start with just a little bit of kind of what you do to keep your house up and running and making sure that when you come back, everything is as it should be.
Yes, well, that's very important. And I'll be frank with you, right now I'm actually on family medical leave because I have a new baby and I'm in my modest home in the Philippines. And so my less modest home, which is in Memphis, Tennessee, has to look after itself. And so as you can imagine, there are a number of preparations, just like succeeding in locums. Part of that is making sure you have a nice home to come back to that doesn't have a flood on the floor or things missing or broken, and that the lights are still on. So I'd say the easiest thing to do is you sit down at your desk one day and you've got all your bills and you put everything digital. You want to be on auto pay for your credit cards, for your utility bills. Even if you're not traveling, that just takes such a hassle out of life every month, writing the check for this. And these days there are so many bills to pay, whether it's Netflix or the guy that cuts the grass. You want everything to be automated. And the beauty of that is you can log on anytime and see, my mortgage payments, automated. No more little books with coupons. You don't want to do anything that relies on standard mail. So that's number one. You won't get everything is the problem. The IRS is going to send you something to your mailbox. Somehow somebody's going to mail you something to your mailbox. So the other key, and you have to have a human being. And that human being hopefully is a very loved neighbor or a friend. We have a friend who comes twice a week, and we compensate her for the gas and the trouble to empty the mailbox, because you certainly don't want an overflowing mailbox. We've had even in our neighborhood some people tampering with the mail, looking for things. So you don't want packages sitting on the front porch day after day. They're going to disappear. The place has to look lived in. And then a lot of people these days have pets, and the pets get hungry. So we do have some pets, and so the pets have to be attended to. Luckily, they're not dogs and cats, which require pretty much a daily intervention. Mine are usually in cages, or they're much lower on the developmental scale. They don't need quite as much attention, but still some. And then there's just the sort of house walkthrough. We had a flood in our kitchen when we were away one weekend. And you wouldn't want to come back to that 3 months later. Luckily it was the next day. So you want somebody to sort of patrol the house and check it out, turn the lights on and off, kind of give it that lived-in look. The other thing that now is quite easy to do, and I highly recommend it, is security cameras. I have 2 cameras, one upstairs, one downstairs, and with my phone, anytime I can just turn on my phone, click the app, and there's a beautiful view of my living room. And if somebody were to walk through my living room, it triggers an alert, and I can see, gee, is that the person I hired, or is that somebody who doesn't belong there? So, and of course, I do have a conventional alarm system. I think it's less than $40 a month. And if that alarm goes off, some important person will come to the house with a big truck and check it out if it's burning down or somebody broke in. So these are things I think you really don't have much choice, that you have to. Your home is a big investment, and that's where you live, and that's where you want to come back to. My locums are usually a week on and week off. But now, for example, I'm away for 3 months. So all kinds of things can happen in a 3-month period if you don't have anybody to look after the house. So do some advance planning. And then, of course, traveling with your files. If you're going to be away that long, you're going to apply for your next position, you're going to need all of your documents. So I rely very heavily on Dropbox, Apple's iCloud I use for photos, but you can also use it for documents, or any of those services, Google Drive. They all function quite similarly and are sort of in the similar price range, whichever one you sort of like fits into your ecosystem of computer. Dropbox for me has been a total life changer. I have everything. I feel like I'm at home as soon as I open up my computer wherever I am, because every document is there, and it just allows me to continue my routine.
No, those are great tips. Let's maybe switch this around a little bit and talk about, so when you're gone and when you're away from home, you talked about kind of caring for the home you left. What are some of the things that you do to try and make your locums assignment feel a little bit more like home?
Well, one of the problems that I have on locums, and I suspect I'm not unique, is getting to sleep. And sleeping in a hotel room, usually, which is, sometimes it's not a bad hotel room, but it's a strange environment. And so I always bring my exercise equipment, my favorite sneakers, t-shirts. And because if I exercise early in the day, I'm much more likely to sleep at night. So it's kind of defensive. I don't exercise because it's healthy or because I want to. I just exercise so I can have a good night's sleep later. And I also bring Netflix on my phone and iPad. Netflix makes me feel like I'm at home. And I'm way, way behind on all of my programs. And so when I'm away, it's like it's a great time to catch up on Netflix.
What do you do as far as food? Do you find that you're eating out for every meal, or do you bring some food from home, or do you go to the grocery store? How do you handle eating?
I'd say food, that is a tough one, because unless you have a very extended locums assignment, say 6 months or more, it's going to be hard to get the locums company to get you an apartment. You're going to be in a hotel room, and it could be an embassy suites kind of place that does have some minimal kitchen, but in my experience, usually not. So microwave, mini refrigerator kind of setup. And that makes healthy eating challenging. But I also don't like to fuss. I'm not a fuss around in the kitchen kind of person. So usually I will eat healthy food, a salad or something like that at the hospital while I'm there. So that knocks off one meal. Breakfast is, that's the Starbucks, that's easy. And then dinner is the real challenge. It's like, what do you do for dinner? And some people I know, well, they'll stay at the hospital. The hospital has cafeteria. But usually by the end of the day, I'm ready to leave the hospital. I kind of had enough hospital. And so that doesn't work for me. So what I do on assignment is I arrive typically on a Sunday for the Monday through Sunday set. And that Sunday evening, I go shopping. And I'm not working yet. I have time. So I go to the nearest supermarket and I buy all the healthy food I can get for a week, including frozen dinners, anything that the microwave, fruit, cut up fruit, stuff like that. I don't like to shop either. So I just do it in one thing, done. So whatever I have there, it's for the week. And then maybe sometime during that week, I'll go out. Hopefully I'll meet somebody, maybe go out with one of the residents or one of the other faculty, just as a social event. So that takes care of one evening. And one evening I'll get home too late to eat, so I won't really eat much. I'm still, it might be some sort of Freudian thing, but I still like eating cereal. And I can have cereal for dinner and I'm perfectly happy. So a box of my favorite cereal comes in handy. But I think it requires a lot of thought, because people are really picky. And the tendency is you're overtired to just go out every day. Well, that is not going to be healthy. There's no way that you're going to be able to, at least if you're, over 30, that you can stay on your diet eating out. Eating out food isn't set up that way, no matter how careful you are. And I can be very sort of picky at a restaurant. Pretty tough to stay on a diet when you're eating out every day. So more planning there.
Oh, perfect. What's your cereal of choice?
I like crunchy cereal. I don't like soggy cereal. So those cereals that have granola in them, Raisin Bran is a classic. It's got to have raisins. So granola is good because it has raisins. So anything with raisins is okay.
No, that's great. Do you do anything else to kind of bring a little bit of home with you, or does your family ever travel with you or anything like that?
I discourage it. One of the reasons that locums works for me is that when I'm at work, it's 100% focus. And the reverse is true. When I'm not at work, when my week is over, I'm 100% home and ready to dive into my other activities like making films or writing articles. And having the family there, at the end of the day, I either want to study up on my patients and sign my charts so that, my slate is clear. And when I get on that plane, everything is done. So for me, it's really a more intense, get the work done week. And if I do have extra time, now we have FaceTime and Skype, right? Just like I'm talking to you. So the baby's not going to forget who his daddy is. So you definitely want internet. That helps bring home there. That's for sure.
No, that's great. Well, thank you again. It's always great to talk with you, and keep enjoying the Philippines for the rest of the time you're there.
Thanks, Chad. It's been fun.